I might be live. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've done this. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, I guess I am live. Cool. Nobody's watching it, of course, but yeah, it's the way that these things go. My camera's here, by the way, instead of like anywhere else, because if it was anywhere else, you would see what's behind me, which is a mess. So I put my camera over there. It's going to be kind of awkward because I've got the microphone in front of my face. But I can't put it here because then I breathe on it, and that would just be annoying to everybody. So we'll see if people actually end up joining. But for the sake of posterity, in case anybody happens to be watching this later, I just got home from visiting family for the holidays, which was excellent. Friends and family, I should clarify, which was absolutely fantastic. So I've spent this afternoon kind of not recuperating because it was a wonderful trip. It wasn't like something that needs to be recuperated from. It was just, get home, unload the car, start unpacking everything. I had to set up my PC again, you know, put things back where they were before I left 9 days ago. So, T Crash, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Hope you're having a good. I guess it's Sunday night. We're in holiday purgatory, by the way. So time has no meaning. The time between Christmas and New Year's always gets you. Hope you had a great Christmas holiday season. Whatever you celebrate, I hope it's been good. Or just plain time away from work, school, or whatever. I am blessed to not be working until this coming Thursday, which not that anybody asks for my advice on this channel on anything other than Lego, but I recommend working a job if you ever get the chance with the opportunity to take off that kind of time. If you're lucky. Not everybody has that advantage, which I'm very fortunate in. But anyways, yeah, I got back and actually took a detour. So I drove most of the way back home yesterday, on Saturday. And then I actually took a detour to Ohio, where I visited some very, very good friends of mine, which I had many of which I had not seen for several years, which was very worth doing. That one Lego part goes missing when you're assembling an engine. Yeah. If you ever view the live stream that I did when I was building my Brickmania Mohawk, the first of like the several streams that it took me to build the locomotive, like most of the first stream was like looking for one piece. It's the way that works. I am actually doing some Lego business right now, I guess you could call it, for an unannounced project. But then again, all of my projects are unannounced for the majority of the time that I'm working on them until they're ready. But I'll just say that this project has had me to needed me to sort out a lot of pieces. So, that's always takes a lot of time. I actually was able to do a lot of this. I would say the vast majority of this at my parents' house. I visited my parents specifically for a while, and I did the majority of this work down there while I had some free time. So it's going to get kind of rattly here on occasion. So if you're watching this either now or in the future, I apologize in advance, but it has to be done. So it's the way that this thing has to go. And there's a lot of parts that I have to sort. Reason why, I hope, will become apparent in ideally at the end of next month. But who knows? If there's one thing that always goes according to plan, it's that that you can always rely on, rather, is that nothing ever goes according to plan. I've certainly hit some roadblocks with this project already, but it has been a lot of fun. You know, a lot of the things that I do in my, you know, Lego hobby tend to be, you know, things that I haven't done before. I do some very similar things. I mean, obviously I build a lot of cars and I build a lot of locomotives, and so there's a lot of, you know, repetitive action there in the process of research and design and development and testing and whatever. This has been a lot different. And reason being is will become more obvious as time moves on, but it's been a lot of fun. And I'm kind of in the space of needing to make sure that I don't miss any details right now. So, you know, I might go, you know, radio silent for different amounts of time while I do this, but I'm still here and I'm still streaming. It has been a while. I fully realize, and I think about this, I've actually thought about this quite a lot this year already, is that I haven't really uploaded very much this year. I don't consider myself a content creator. I don't think that I'll ever consider myself a content creator. You know, it's not what I do. It's, you know, it's kind of a, it's a tangent to doing, you know, Lego. It's just kind of the, not the afterthought, but it's just kind of the kind of that little extra bit. It's something that, you know, it's related to what you're doing, but it's not at all the main purpose of it. It's not the main focus, but it's something that I think about a lot, because when I do Lego, you know, part of the process for me is the publishing. You know, it's showing what you did, not as, you know, not as a brag or, you know, anything like that, but it's sharing your work. You know, I think that there's a lot to be said in the artistic process for what comes after the technical finish of finishing the piece. You know, there's always you have to tell people about it. I think that's inherently part of the artistic process. And what I'm doing is art. You know, I don't deny it. I'm using these to build trains. So there's a lot of art involved with it. But you know, it's quite a tangent already. I can ramble so much. Oh my goodness. But the YouTube part of it and the content creation is like tangentially related, and it's kind of comes after. It's part of that kind of not last step, but kind of like the epilogue, I guess, of the creative process to me. And so a lot of times that you know, can kind of get really pushed on the back burner. A lot of times, you know, I don't even think about it at all because there's just so many other things that I, you know, do and take care of. You know, I have a full-time job, I have a part-time job, and I volunteer. It's the way that my life is right now. So it means I don't upload a whole lot. I don't live stream a whole lot. So at least tonight I'm fixing a little bit of that. Hope you like my flag, by the way. I'm matching. Andrew, good to see you, man. Hope you had a good Christmas. I hope you did too. I've enjoyed the recent posts that you made about the rolling stock. It's always you guys always seem to have a really good you guys being, you know, the collective British train builders. You guys always seem to have a really good method of sharing your rolling stock with other people, which I really appreciate and enjoy. Hope you had a good Christmas too. Christmas too. We've had one Christmas, yes, but what about second Christmases? Hope you had a good Christmas as well. You join a stream with like 3 people, this is what you're going to get. I've clearly fallen off. Clearly fallen off. I was on Heiss's YouTube channel earlier this year, and you know, I've already crested that hill. Oh man. Never take the pressure pushing out videos regularly. Me neither. I can't even do it like semi-regularly because I've got a video that I really want to post. It's put together on my phone, because that's the amount of effort that I give to this, is I just stitch clips together on my phone and then upload them. But for whatever reason, this video does not want to render off of my phone, and I'm really upset about that. So I might have to call in some extra help, but it will get posted eventually. It basically footage from the nickel plate convention that I went to months ago. I really want to post that because it was a lot of fun. I was on the highlight of there were so many. That was a great weekend, amazing weekend. But one of the highlights of that weekend was riding on a nickel plate passenger car. I rode the Kichigami Club, which was formerly nickel plate business car number 7. It's been modified and stuff like that. So it's not completely original anymore. It's now maroon versus Andrew. Take care, man. Good to see you briefly. Kichigami Club, wonderful passenger car. Really enjoyed riding in it, but it's a former nickel plate passenger car. I was in the Kichigami Club. That was the first in the makeup of this train that I was on the Kichigami Club. It was the first revenue service car following the locomotive. So it was 765, the tool car, the tool car, I'm sorry, 765, the water car, the tool car, then Kichigami Club. I was on a nickel plate passenger car behind a nickel plate steam locomotive that was being engineered by Doyle McCormick on his last run. That was my nickel plate Historical and Technical Society convention weekend, or it was part of it. Kale, you have not missed much. The introduction was about 20 minutes long, which is very typical for anything that I do, and I'm, sorting parts because I have at least I think I have all of what I need now. So just lamenting on the woes of content creation being just tangentially related to Lego from me. The rest of it has just been me rambling and either talking to myself or talking to the seemingly declining number of people who like to listen to me talk. Calvin's here too. First thing that you heard was passenger car. Yeah, I was just explaining the time that I spent at the nickel plate convention weekend riding Kichigami Club, which if you just joined, you probably didn't hear the explanation. Kichigami Club is currently privately owned, formerly nickel plate business car number 7. And that was the first, in the makeup of the train, it was the first revenue service car after 765, the water car, and the tool car. I'm pretty sure that there was not an extra one in there. It might have been the power car, but I think the power car was on the end of the train. But I was on a nickel plate passenger car behind a nickel plate steam locomotive that was being engineered by Doyle McCormick. And I believe that was his last run. So, quite a weekend. Hope you guys are doing well. Nothing wrong with being a late joiner to these live streams, because there's, always unplanned and rarely ever good in content. But essentially what I'm, doing is what I've done today is just driven home and got the important stuff unpacked and set back up, namely my PC and my gaming system. Ate food, watched the last episode of the Grand Tour, which if you're familiar with the Grand Tour, I wouldn't say it was a tearjerker. It was a little bit emotional, but they did a very good job in that episode, just kind of reminding you that it was the last episode. So the when they got to the end, it wasn't, an absolute waterworks. But I will also say that, and no spoilers, but it was very enjoyable. I enjoyed it immensely. I've enjoyed all of those programs immensely, even, the less good ones. But the ending was a little bit emotional. I kind of found myself caught off guard by some of the extra things that they threw in. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen the Grand Tour. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I personally enjoyed it. Hi, Ethan. Doing pretty well. Glad to see you here. I did have a pretty good Christmas. We'll see about New Year's, but slated to be pretty good. Yeah, Jerry at Age of Steam, not Jerry Jacobson. Jerry Beach is one of the older volunteers. Releasing a book on the McLeod 19 with them might be a stretch. meaning and intending precisely no disrespect at all to Mr. Beach at all. Jerry is a lovely individual, but might be a bit of a stretch. That does represent some things that I would like to do. Using the word releasing means it's currently those efforts are ongoing, and I would certainly not say that those efforts are currently ongoing. It means that I haven't worked on that book in year and a half, if not more. It's an eventual goal, but goals and priorities change. The research hasn't gone anywhere. It's still about a half a gigabyte worth of Google document on my computer. I don't even want to know how much the photos and everything that I have saved is, but it's on there. And that is a very eventual thing. But yeah, I would say it's a little jump the gun to say I'm releasing the book. Because for one, it's not even written, and two, I'd have to find a publisher. I've actually had very brief conversations with one that I think would be very good for the kind of book that I'd like to write. But again, the book's not even anywhere. I wouldn't even call it a book. So this is not going to work well. I can already tell. I've got to go find another solution for what I'm trying to do. Away. And we're back. That's going to work better. These little, it might not work actually all that much better. Little things that you kind of discover becoming an adult and starting to live on your own is that sometimes you need a very specific bowl for a very specific job, and sometimes you can use that for other jobs, which I thought Lego was going to be a good job for this, but it does not seem to be. However, when did you run into Jerry, Ethan? I think last event that I know Mr. Beach was at was Santa Visits the Roundhouse 2024, which was the 14th, which was a lot of fun. I was the world's most overdressed crossing guard attendant that day, which was a lot of fun. Pardon me. This will take some time because I'm sorting out a lot of Lego pieces. And doing that takes time. I am certainly in the end of that process, though. I would hate to have I would hate to be starting from scratch right now, because the scope of the work that I've done and had to do for this project certainly does not lend well to the space in my apartment right now that I have in which to do it. I was able to spread out a little bit when I was visiting my parents and commandeer their Amish-made dining room table, which is the kind of thing that my parents are used to by this point, having with a hobby like this. Let's see here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 32. I can't even tell how many people are watching this right now. It's not a problem. Anyways. Oh, 5 people are watching this. It's like, as I said, it's been a while. StreamYard has changed a little bit. I tried to start the stream on YouTube because they had like a, you know, just go live. Oh, it's simple, no setup required, you know, this, that, and the other. And it's just, I try to do that, and it's just, oh, we can't, you know, your camera's not working, and, you know, this, that, and the other, or whatever. And it's all right, well, it's clearly not as simple as you guys make it. YouTube doesn't pay me, so I can tell them, I can say that they're not ideal. But I think everybody knows that YouTube is not ideal in some cases. Kind of the fact of the matter. Apologize if, like, for that, but it's just where my camera is. Like I said at the very beginning, I'm not having my camera up here or over there because you would be able to see all of that and all of that, which is a mess. So I'm not gonna subject any of my poor viewers to that. They've suffered enough just clicking on my videos. Group in Orville, volunteering for the day at the depot. Growing up with steam, Whaling Lake Erie, 759 over Horseshoe Curve. Absolutely fascinating indeed. I believe I've had a few of those stories recounted to me by Mr. Beach. Fantastic stuff. I feel like this is going to take just the perfect amount of time to kind of do a nice little cozy live stream and then hit stop and then retire for the evening. But it was either going to be this and listen to the 135 YouTube videos that I have in a playlist that are older than 3 weeks from content creators and whoever that I enjoy watching, or contribute to the content creation machine myself. And guess which one I chose? The better or poorer option, depending on your opinions. There's always something so therapeutic or something like that, maybe whatever the right word is, about counting out Lego. At least for me. Other people go nuts, and I know that for a fact. 19 of those. Hate dropping things. Those of you who are watching, anybody working on anything interesting this evening? I've always got things going on. As I mentioned towards the very beginning of the stream, they all tend to stay pretty well hidden until what I feel is the right moment. But this little project here, I'm hoping to publish in maybe late January. I say little, it's very much not little. In fact, it's a very big deal. At least for me. Impatiently waiting for Canada Post. That's the... I feel like that song has been sung by many people before. Then cool things will happen. They certainly will. Only the world didn't have to rely on time. But in some ways, I think it's good that we do. And really just inevitable. The unhinged ramblings of a young adult counting Lego pieces. What in the world will be thought of next? I guess in a way this is supposed to be a mild teaser for this very project, but it's really not. But there's a few people who will know what I'm doing. Number's very small. I only have to do what I've done twice now, 5 more times, so won't be quite so bad. But yeah, kind of got earlier last year, or this year, kind of got a fire built under me, or built a fire under myself to do something interesting. At least I think it's interesting. And started down that path, and a lot of time and money spent later, here I am, and the goal is to have this ready to roll at the end of January. And ready to roll can be taken literally, in a way. Normally, I don't think I would be live streaming on a Sunday evening. But again, seeing as how it's holiday purgatory, December 29th is right in that time period for me. It's, like I mentioned earlier, time has absolutely zero meaning between Christmas and New Year's, and even in a few of the days leading up to Christmas. Here I am, not working until Thursday, which I think is pretty cool. Kind of weird to be able to say that I work a job that allows me to not work, but I believe that's part of the deal. Part of the paper that I signed and they signed in return, so I take as much advantage of that time as I reasonably can. It would be awful if I miscounted anything at this point. I just realized that my stream name in the bottom left corner there, it says the actual Glenn, and that causes me to wonder what the last live stream I did was at all. Presumably not on my channel, because I don't think that I've had another Glenn on my own channel. Rather funnily. A bit of shameless self-promotion. Bear with me one moment. Yeah, that worked. Now return you to your regularly unscheduled program. My live streams are never scheduled. They just aren't. It's just the way that this works for me. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think that's the perfect time to do it. It becomes more real, and it's the kind of content that I usually appreciate seeing is the kind of just little peek through a window, kind of looking into an already established world or something like that. But you might not feel the same way. So this is kind of interesting, and so good conversation starter. I recently, for the first time, watched It's a Wonderful Life. I know. I just dropped the part. Crazy. You know, Wonderful Life is considered, It's a Wonderful Life is considered one of the all-time, like, probably top 5 classic Christmas movies at the very least. Holiday, Christmas movies. Tangentially thinking about that, I think calling It's a Wonderful Life, having seen it now, calling it a Christmas movie is a little bit of a stretch, because the point of the movie is not that it's Christmas. It's a movie in which the climax occurs on Christmas Eve, as far as I understood while I watched the movie. I had counted out way too many of these. That's what I get for not paying attention. But that's very much a semantic argument. It's a Christmas movie. It's really what it is. But I watched it for the first time, and I loved every bit of it. Oh my word, that was such a good movie. Really enjoyed that. One of my favorite kind of weekend rituals, and at least during the typical season for me, that being the season in which Age of Steam is doing tours, which means that I'm away from home from typically about 6 or 7 in the morning on Saturday to 6 or 7 at night. But one of my favorite Sunday rituals, so Saturday rituals are always the same, but my favorite Sunday ritual is, one of them is, in the afternoon, in the late morning leading into the early afternoon, I get some food, sit myself down in front of the TV, and just watch a movie. And watch several movies, actually. There have been some Sundays where I become very, very lazy and watch 3, maybe 4 movies, depending on the day and the lineup of that particular day. But really, that's only happens when it's in season, because Sundays kind of become my one day off. I work a full-time job Monday through Friday, and then Age of Steam takes up, for all intents and purposes, all of my Saturday, all of my usable Saturday, I would say, which is not a complaint, but it is an accurate observation. So Sunday becomes my my do nothing day a lot of times, and so that's I'm not going to call myself a film nerd. I enjoy watching movies, but I'm not like a cinemaphile or anything like that, or anything even close. But there's a lot that I enjoy about just sitting down, just eating a meal and just watching a movie. It's and a lot of times I rewatch the same movies. Interestingly enough, I have not watched Emperor of the North on a Sunday afternoon. For whatever reason, that's just hasn't come up in the lineup. Maybe because I've seen it a whole bunch of times. There's not like maybe I'll watch it next chance I get. I don't know. It just hasn't been one of them. But like a lot of times it tends to be like war movies. I love war movies. Oh my word. Love a good war movie. Stuff like that, stuff that I haven't seen before typically, or sometimes I'll kind of get a hankering to watch something that I have seen again. So that's what a lot of my Sundays look like. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Never liked It's a Wonderful Life, Kale? Any particular reason, or you didn't sit right, or? I did see, actually, you posted, or I heard, anyways, that you watched The Polar Express for the first time and enjoyed it. I'm glad that you like it, because I think that, yes, if you watch it as a train nerd, it becomes a very different film. But if you just suspend that from your mind, it's a very wonderful film. It honestly, it's so fun. Like, it's just a fun movie. And like, I don't really know anybody that hates Polar Express. There's probably people out there that hate it. Being train guys, which presumably a lot of these people that are watching the stream are train people and have seen Polar Express, so they are, subjected to the endless, like, hey, you're the know-it-all kid. I've gotten a couple of those from family and friends, probably more than I can, remember. But it's a fun movie. It really is. I enjoy it. It's a very good Christmas movie. I think it captures a lot of the right tones. Captures a lot of, it's just to kind of generalize it. It just hits a lot of the right notes to be a Christmas movie. And it's got trains in it. I will say, actually, this is not necessarily a spoiler, but if you haven't seen the Polar Express, which Kale is now not a part of that group, but there's a scene in which one of the Polar Express tickets gets lost by its owner, and there's a scene in there's a sequence, I would say. I believe it's the technical term is a sequence. It's a series of shots in which follow this ticket, kind of on like an eagle grabs it in its beak or whatever, and it basically it goes away from the train and it gets back on the train and it is then refound by the main character. But I love that sequence. It's probably my favorite in the film, just because of what I'm looking at. It's just pretty. It's just nice to look at. I think my favorite shot in the entirety of the Polar Express is during that sequence, and it's when the ticket lands, just floats down and lands on the snow, and then you got the forest in the background, and then all of a sudden it's just poof, Polar Express rushes by in the background behind the trees, whistles going off, and all the wolves are running by. That is amazing. And part of the reason I like it is because it's a direct callback to Chris Van Allsburg book. The illustration in the book is exactly that. I love it. I think it's so much fun. Oh my, I gotta watch Polar Express again. I actually did watch it, ironically on a plane, coming back from something. Watched the Polar Express on the back of a Delta plane, I think it was, or something like that. K-37s were once something else. That is an accurate name. Good to see you. I am currently working on sorting a lot of Lego pieces for an currently unnamed project. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday evening. T-Crash. Now that I have watched the Polar Express, you must build the Polar Express. I've never liked nicknames for things. I don't know why. Like, I have friends that have nicknames, and I tend to call them by their full name, and I always feel so I feel like I'm being so offensive in doing that. But I'm very particular in things like that. I don't think I'm ever going to build the Polar Express per se. I built the AMC Burke, that being nickel plate 763, which I love. My friend Shane has built his copy of my engine, which has taken the form of Paramarquette 1225, which, yes, by every stretch of the imagination, is the Polar Express. But I don't think it's for me. I would like to. I like it in that it's a very sharp, sleek passenger train. I like it that it's an AMC Burke. It's not for me. It's just, it's not what I want to do. Know It All Kid didn't know trains, though. He called it a Baldwin 284. So kind of, yes, he did call it a Baldwin 284. Baldwin did build 284s very similar to Paramarquette 1225, the Erie Burks. Which is why if I was going to build an Erie Burke, I would build a Baldwin Erie Burke. Erie had Burks from multiple manufacturers. I believe they at least had them I know they had them from Baldwin. They might have had them from all three, or maybe it was just Baldwin and Lima or just Baldwin and Alco, but I cannot remember. I apologize. But they did build Erie Burks, and Erie Burks are like a very close cousin to the AMC. Virtual train stuff, glad to see you. Hope you're doing well. As Heist said, the only thing the Polex gave us was a D&H headlight. In a lot of ways, I guess so. Again, if you just look past all of that, yes, it is inherently a train movie because it's the movie is set 99% around a train and is set on a train for a lot of it. The movie revolves around the train. It is a train movie. But if you just suspend your disbelief It's a wonderful movie. Just enjoy the movie. You know, not everything has to be fully accurate. I think the world would be I think movies would be significantly more boring if they were, you know. My humble opinion. I don't think I don't think that the audience should or needs to be, you know, spoon-fed everything. I think things like that are what warrant second and third watch throughs of different movies. Um, I think that they become significantly more enjoyable that way. You know, I don't want to be told everything that's on what's happening. You know, I want to, you know, be able to, you know, make inferences for myself or be led to correct assumptions about what's going to happen. Everybody said like, "Oh, that's a twist I saw coming," but maybe, but it's also the writing team, theoretically, anyways, the writing team giving you the context clues to arrive at an assumption that you then find out is correct. So, you know, I think that you know, again, ramblings of a guy in his late 20s sorting Lego. Welcome to the stream. Haven't seen the movie in many years, but I feel like a lot of the inaccuracies start to get into the it's so stupid, it's funny territory. See, that's you're kind of hitting on the point. It's like the whole Glacier Gulch scene. Like, yes, that's as a train nerd watching that, it's like this is stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Like, and the whole, yeah, the infamous Tokyo drifting on the ice, which I love. I think that is so funny. Oh my word, I love that. I love that part of the movie. It's just so enjoyable to watch. It's a treat. Oh my goodness. But you skip past all you. Yeah, you look at it and say like, wow, that's really dumb. But you're still enjoying watching it. I think that's what the people making the movie wanted to do. Really, it's it's a movie about a magical train that takes you to see Santa Claus. That should tell you enough. If you've never joined a live stream from me before, this is the kind of ramblings that we get into here. So allow me a brief moment. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Excellent. Making good progress. Got to do what I just did. I think I got to do 3 more of these. Got done building 2 RGS Galloping Geese and some Carolwood Pacific rolling stuff. Nick's going to make an ES&D T-box car all in Lego. Nice. You'll be probably the second person to do it. Well, maybe the first, because I did the a proper ES&D box car. So. It was a fun little project. It's nice to have a library of designs and things like that. So when you need to do something a little whimsical, you don't have to start from the ground up. You can just kind of select something that you've already got that will translate well into what you're doing. In this case, for me, I needed a box car that I could brand as ES&D and then present as a gift. And my 32 ARA worked perfectly for that. I'm glad that I did it. Enjoy the cool parts because they're cool and enjoy the dumb parts because they're dumb and funny. Exactly. It's just an enjoyable movie. Like, I think the movie was made to make money. It's just the way that it's the commercialization of Hollywood, which completely other topic. But in theory, the movie is in a way a piece of art, and I think it's made to be enjoyed. And I think that sometimes, not all the time, sometimes the dissection, the close dissection of a movie like that, it can be beneficial in some ways. I think it's a very good thing to look at something like that in a very technical and, you know, logical and like, all right, well, but approaching that as like, how can we make this do better the next time? Like, what can we learn? And like, how can we learn from this and do better? Essentially, just kind of an improvement process. But I think it's made to be enjoyed. You know, if you look at like CinemaSins, I used to watch CinemaSins here on YouTube a lot, and it was like, yeah, that's bad. And I'm just like, I kind of realized like I'm missing the point. You know, so I stopped watching CinemaSins, and I'm not saying that you should if you enjoy CinemaSins, but I'm saying that I think that there's more to it than just being able to dissect and pick out every single wrong error in a movie. Polar Express certainly has its fair share. I'm gonna do my due diligence and recount something that just because I'm not entirely sure I got the right amount, but it looks like I did. There we go. So, anyways, 25. Hope I counted right. Everyone acting tough until John Railroadman starts drifting a Burke on the ice like a 1992 Honda Civic with a spoon engine. There are some words in there that I did not I did not understand. I don't understand what a spoon engine is. I've only ever owned Hondas, so maybe that's a me problem. Is that what they call the engineer? I thought his name was Smokey. Was that it? I don't know. I do kind of like that the none of the characters in the movies have names. I mean, the main character is literally, I think he's credited as Hero Boy officially, which I think is funny. Then Hero Girl, and then Billy. Billy's the only one with an actual name. Is the Hero Boy's sister? Does she have a name in that movie? I can't remember. I know Billy though. Just my name is Billy. That's my present. Anyways. They're going to make as much 3-foot rolling stock in 138 as you can. Parlor car 64 in Hawaii. That sounds quite interesting. Following the steps of Mr. Weebold, keeping in theme with the heist crew for a minute. Always enjoyed what Brett designs and publishes. I wish he would do more of it, but having spoken with him personally, I understand and appreciate not being as able as you would like, in at least in this case, to devote time to Lego. I certainly understand. The fact that the movie has benefited the rail community is immensely. I would certainly say that's true. You know, there's a lot to be said for every, the parents want to take their kids on the Polar Express train ride that your local Heritage and Heritage Rail organization operates. North Pole Express, Santa Claus Express, because intellectual property is intellectual property, which is fair. But it does. That's actually a very good point to make. Absolutely. A lot of benefits to be had from that. A lot of revenue to be generated in protecting railroad equipment and making sure that new generations can appreciate it. Making sure that I get the right count of these. I've got lists in front of me propped up against my... Technically, that's my main monitor, and this is my secondary one. So... a lot of rail friends come from the movie too. It's truly influential. I'd agree with that too. I think it's in some ways it's similar to Thomas the Tank Engine. It's everybody has their starting point. And for me, I can't really tell you exactly what the starting point was, but I think my first real fixation within trains was Thomas the Tank Engine, which is fair. Everybody has their own thing, and a lot of the people my age and, even older than I am, Thomas was around for 11 years on TV. He was around for 11 years before I was born. So I came in, relatively speaking, a little late to that party, but, it doesn't mean I appreciate it any less. But, everybody has their start. Everybody's kind of has their jumping off point into any hobby. And, for a lot of people, that was Thomas Tank Engine. And, we kind of can joke and, meme and whatever about the direction that it's gone in recently, and I think that a healthy amount of that is deserved, honestly. We won't talk about we won't get into Thomas the Tank Engine here at the moment, just because a whole other conversation. And I don't really know all that much about the new age stuff, I guess I would say. But Classic Thomas is still pretty awesome. Special place in the hearts of a lot of people like me. I'd say that even a lot of people that aren't trained people enjoyed it when they were younger. And there's a lot to be said for that. Old Fast and Furious joke. Hector has 3 Civics with spoon engines, and that's a railroad online name for that old guy character model. There you go. I think that, oh goodness, I think I've only ever seen one Fast and Furious movie, and I want to say it was the 5th one. But I could not even tell you for sure. I watch a lot of movies. I don't watch every movie. Okay, I am going to recount because I want to be sure. If you're counting a lot of Lego, first rule is count everything. Second rule is count everything. There we go. Bear with me on this. Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. On the topics of Berks, are you planning to come over to CVSR in spring for Steam the Valley? If they do it, yeah. I know that the Indiana Rail experience has been quite successful for 3 years now. I am blessed to have been part of 2 of those years, a small part of 2 of those years. And I do have a little bit of sweat equity in their recently in-service Empire State Express car. I believe it's number 2568. I pulled most of the seats out of that car. Fun way to spend a day out there. Fun way to spend a very cold day out there, I should say. I think it was like January 3rd this year. It was pretty cold in Indiana that morning. Being an all-volunteer organization, minus one person, I know that they certainly appreciate the help. So yeah, if they do Steam in the Valley again, I'd certainly like to come over. Getting there. I think I'm going to be short on a few parts, but that's why I over-ordered. Is what it is. It's my calendar. Nobody needs to see that. Wish Brett would put more of his models on Bricklink, sitting on a few models, but man is a life. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's I know Brett's can be a pretty busy guy. Who can't, who isn't these days? But yeah, it's kind of the way things are. He does do some pretty cool stuff, though. I've been going for almost an hour. Only 6:18. It feels like it's like 10:30. It's the winter, man. I'm telling you. Awful. No sunlight. Hate dropping things. Nice quiet evening, though. It's never really a bad thing. Nathan's Railway, hello. Glad to see you here. Hope you're enjoying your night. Hope you're enjoying the holiday season, whatever you celebrate. Have I remained in air gauge models? No, but I'd like to. I started on a few. I think that was one of the kind of rabbit holes I dove down. I think maybe probably almost certainly last year already. There's a few I'd like to make, but if I'm going to do a narrow gauge model, there's a very particular way in which I would do it. That being, take the regular Lego track, shrink it down by 1 stud rather than shrink it down by 2 studs, and build off of that. I'm not going to say it's the correct answer, but I think it's the answer that makes the most sense, given the way in which a lot of scale Lego models are built. I usually don't like saying correct answer, correct idea versus incorrect idea, but I think that there are definitely ideas that make more sense than others, and I think that that's one of them. But again, whole point is for you to be satisfied, because it's, to you, it's your hobby. You're the one putting the effort in. You're the one spending the time, money, resources, effort, what have you. If you're not pleased, then what's the point? I'd say the only way that you're doing a hobby incorrectly is if you're not pleased with what you're doing. I would say it's time to take a step back and reevaluate. I've done that before. Sorting out all this Lego has made me almost get there again. Not really. It does take a lot of work, though. Sneak peek, as it were. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, arriving at the last one, but I know I'm going to be short on a few things. So we'll do that, and then I'm actually short on another handful of parts, so probably the remainder of this live stream will be finishing this and then making sure that I've pulled the stuff out of my own collection to put to supplement what I need. So I'm not going to keep everybody here for hours, but as long as people are here and asking questions, everybody's enjoying the time, we'll keep going for a little bit. Will I make any British stuff? That's another no, but I'd like to. Oh my goodness. There's the more that you get serious about a hobby, and this has been true for me for a number of years at this point, several years even at this point, I would say. But the more that you get into any hobby in a serious way, I think the more that you realize that you can't do it all unless you're very, very lucky or very, very driven and have all of the resources you need, whether that be time, money, whatever. But typically, you can't do it all by yourself. Which is can be annoying, depending on how you look at it. There's a lot of things that I would like to do that I know that I will probably never get to do because it's just a matter of priorities. And those change. I would have loved to have another 5 engines done right now. But for a number of reasons, I haven't. And a lot of that has to do with life outside of the hobby. A lot of that has to do with changing priorities within the hobby. It's a very fluid thing. And again, this is kind of as you get more serious about it. Not that casual, maybe that's not the right word, but for reference, casual hobbyists may deal with it and they may not deal with it. But there's kind of a point that you reach like, wow, there's a lot that I want to do. And realistically thinking, I won't have all of the time that I want to do it. So you pick and choose. That's why I tend to follow whatever is to be kind of art, to put it in kind of an artistic way. I follow whatever is speaking to me the loudest, if that makes sense. Whatever is really captured my imagination the most in any moment. It could be one thing, it could be another. There was a point at which earlier this year I sat down and fully ready, like mindset mostly oriented towards going one direction, and then I sat down and went a completely different direction. Which is, it's the way that it works out sometimes. No two ways about it. Just sometimes things go according to plan. Sometimes you get done everything that you want, and a lot of times that doesn't happen. But sometimes you end up in just as full of a place, which can be just as fun. One of the interesting things about this project that I'm doing is that sometimes you have on the outside are functionally identical parts that aren't always. So these guys, come on, these guys, some of them have a groove like a tile would around the bottom part here, and kind of like anti-studs in the middle. These are anti-studs, but like a different style. This one does not. And on I ordered a lot of these, which are the ones without the groove, and then I ordered a lot of the ones with the groove. Functionally, they don't make any difference, but sometimes I'm an idiot, and that's what happened. Like I probably could have saved myself a little bit of money in ordering all of these pieces had I had the complete, total, utter presence of mind to think about that beforehand. And a lot of times I do. If you didn't already know, I'm a very detail-oriented person, but sometimes sometimes things fall through even still. It's the way that it is. Nobody's perfect. If I ever claim to be, I'm woefully incorrect. I hope I never claim to be again. If I did, I don't remember it, but which ironically sounds like I'm perfect in remembering that. Just funny. Oh, goodness. There's a few, and anyway, to get back to the question, will I make any British stuff? Probably not by myself. There's, and where I was kind of going with that complete tangent is that there's a handful of things that I'd like to have a good Lego model of that I probably will never get to myself, but it falls into this kind of weird category of if somebody else does a really good version, Lego version of that, I will gladly pay them for it if they're willing to make or sell me a copy or allowed me to build my own. And a lot of times that does happen. I've been fortunate enough to to do that with a couple of people before. Sometimes parts get really dusty. Agree on 3-ride track making more sense, sticking with 4-track, more widely produced and cheaper. Yes, there is completely nothing wrong with that answer. A large part of the reason why I haven't really done any more narrow gauge work is because it would be defining a brand new system to build in. And that takes a lot of effort. Not that I'm unwilling to do that. It's just, again, priorities. I want to work on other things. So that means I don't end up spending my time defining an narrow gauge system to Lego. Let's see. Thoughts on third-party bricks? Define third party. Is that like WeBrick and Blue Bricks and all of those, what I would call a knockoff or clone brand? Or is that something like Brick Arms or Brick Tracks that's made to work with and supplement Lego? I think for me, it comes down to a semantic difference of, is it a replacement or is it a supplement? If it's a replacement, I don't like it. If it's a supplement, I love it. Typically. Talked about this a little bit before. If the part is not available in a certain color, this is just as a reference, I'm holding up a piece. If this is unavailable in a certain color, I would rather paint a genuine Lego piece than use a third-party clone brick in its place. Weird hill, but it's mine, and I'm going to die on it. I know I'm way more particular than a lot of other people. This is unfortunate. Missing a small number of things, which is kind of cramping my style here, honestly. Some of which I'm not sure if I have to supplement, which is really irritating. The good thing, though, is that I ordered a little bit extra, so reasonably speaking, I can get away with it right now. About the narrow gauge track, if it was a smaller gauge, 2 foot, I would do a 2-wide gap. That is what I would do, building in the 8 stud to 10 foot scale. Will's here. My algo must be all wonk. Nothing like watching a Let's Play and a wild Glen appears in the suggested bar. I do tend to appear in wild wild and suggested bars, or tend to appear in wild suggested bars. Pick and choose. But glad to see you're here, Will. Build a lot of narrow gauge, cheaper, meaning more trains, and you like railways like the Taohun. That's a good reason. Very good reason. I need a note card. I cleaned my desk before I set everything back up again, and put all my pens and pencils away. So I had to grab some. Yeah, unfortunately, there's some underages in these part orders. That's the way it is. Brandon, good to see you, man. You didn't miss much. Just me talking and sorting for an unnamed, undisclosed project, like usual. Hope you're well. Hope you had a great Christmas, holiday season, all of the above, whatever you celebrate. Should be marking some things down as I do this. Let's see, get that as clone bricks can be not good, but when I save over $1,000 for 3 train cars, what are you doing spending $1,000 on 3 train cars is my question. That sounds astronomical. I can build a boxcar for $180 conservatively. And that's with flex tube and couplers and wheels and all of that. So that would be my response to that. I get the cheap aspect of clone bricks. I do, because I spend money on real Lego. I get it. It's just not for me. I'd rather buy Lego. Plain and simple. I think you can't. I think you inherently cannot call what you build a Lego train if you don't. This is starting to get into the territory of what people define the hobby as for themselves, but I think that that's a kind of a core aspect of what it is to me. I think that it's a Lego train, and very quickly, and when I explain that to anybody, I explain that it's about 98% Lego and 3% custom and aftermarket parts, which I feel is fair. But I don't think that I could build a let bricks train and call it a Lego train. I couldn't do that in good faith. But yeah, I'm pretty particular. Again, making sure I got everything here. How many of these extras do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where do I get my wheels from? Which ones? Get them from a lot of places. Use a lot of wheels. It's the side of Lego Hobbies. Oh, my camera's gone. And it's a dapper me in a suit instead. Hold on. There it is. Sorry about that. I think my USB cable for my camera is like got a short in it, so I had to be like hold it in position or something like that, and I bumped it, so it was what happened there. Sorry about that. Don't like clone bricks, just want Lego stuff, but I still use custom wheels and side rods. Presumably it's supposed to be side rods like Big Ben and Beckland bricks. Breckland bricks. Yeah, I get that. That's kind of where I fall typically. I have not used Breckland bricks. I don't really have a need to, but I know a good number of people that do. But yeah, it's to kind of summarize the idea, at least for me, it kind of comes down to, is it a replacement or is it a supplement? If it's a replacement, like clone bricks, let bricks, we brick, blue bricks, whatever, I don't know all of them. If it's a replacement, it's not for me. If it's a supplement, I love it. And I try to put myself into the supplement category with my modeling. Carrowood Pacific Passenger Combine and Caboose would have cost you $1,100 with Lego. I'm still shocked at that number. If you're talking about the ones that were put up by, I guess, it's like Yellow's LXF or something like that. If I'm incorrect in that name, I think it's Yellow's something. Apologies if I'm misremembering it, but I would be surprised that cost that much. feel like I could get that significantly lower if I tried. But I haven't tried, so I don't have much of a leg to stand on with that experience. But it just sounds off to me. If you're using the BrickLink Easy Buy function, that might be a big reason for it. If you shop around with sellers, you can usually drive that down and cut it in half, if not a third. I learned that pretty quickly when I started to order from BrickLink more consistently. But again, that's just my experience. Your mileage may vary. Maybe it actually does cost $1,000 for those cars. I don't know. $1,100, whatever. Might be because it's used some parts. Might be expensive. Price increase. It's certainly possible. Again, I really don't know. You're ordering a lot of Lego when they come in a bag like this. This is my forearm, by the way, for scale. It's a lot of Lego. That was just one type of part. I did not mean to do what I just did. I need to think about this and slow down. Oh goodness, that was bad. Would have been worse if I didn't catch myself. Mac Bricks, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great Christmas holiday season, all of the above, whatever you celebrate. Newer to using BrickLink, yeah. Don't use the Easy Buy function. Got the flatbread from Weebricks for $15. Don't plan to do a lot with clone bricks for nameless cars you don't mind. Yeah, I can kind of feel that. One of my other friends is doing some stuff with clone bricks, and that it's just using it as filler parts for like some layout section and stuff like that, which I can also appreciate and understand. But like, I would be more willing to do that than I would be willing to build a model of anything out of Lego. I'm sorry, out of clone brick. So I kind of get it. I do. My difference is that the cost aspect of this hobby for me has never been as big of a factor. K37s, take care. Hopefully BrickLink works out to be cheaper for you. Cost has never been as big of a factor for me, and this is not to say like I spend hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars on Lego. I mean, I do. It's just sometimes. I'm not in a habit of purchasing Lego in super large quantities frequently. I don't do it very often at all. It's like I probably buy from BrickLink maybe like 4 times a year in like batches of like 6 or 7 orders at a time, if that. Which sounds like a lot, and to a lot of people it is, but it's a lot more incremental and spread out than it probably seems. Just as somebody who watches my channel or views my work from the outside might interpret. But cost for me has just never been as big of a deal. It's just kind of, for me, it's just I'd rather just spend the money, do it properly, and then not have to worry about it again. I'd rather do it the right way once and then not think about it. So it means that typically I just spend money until again, incrementally and as needed. I spend the money. My calendar is about to fall down. I spend the money as needed. Do what I believe to be as a good job on something, and then don't think about it. And then I have a model that I'm very happy with and willing to keep. But that's just me. Again, your mileage may vary. Fletching, doing pretty good. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good holiday season, Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Enjoying the evening. to make the name and lining on your engines? Depends. So on an engine like 470, that's all either printed decal or striping tape. So on the tender, if you go on my Flickr and view photos of it, the lining on the tender is all cut vinyl or printed decal. Kale does all my artwork for me because he is a professional model trained graphic artist. He does all the artwork for me, and then I get it printed. If it's a decal, it's printed by OK Brickworks. If it's printing on the part, which occasionally it is, not always, but a lot of times it is. 470, I don't think has any printing on it, but if I get UV ink printed parts, it's done formerly by Richard Glatter. Now it's done by, I cannot remember the name, but it's another individual Richard sold his printer to. Who's a wonderful guy. I've met him in person. The name of his not going to say gig, his business is Stud Scenery. So I've actually got this project that I'm working on during this live stream. I'm using him for. If not, the white striping on 470's running boards is 1/16, I believe, inch striping tape that I use and would recommend if you have the patience to use it. It can be very fulfilling. Names is printed decal or UV printing. Hope that answers that question. T-Crash built a nonsense Force Pullman for around 110 official bricks. Yeah, that's starting to sound a little bit more on track with what I tend to do. Any fun choo-choos planned for next year? Always. I've got a lot in progress right now that I'm looking at. Got a lot in progress right now that I'm working at and working on actively and passively. All will be revealed when it's ready. You know, this is kind of a teaser. This live stream is kind of a teaser for one of those projects. Again, that I'm hoping to unveil at the end of January. Hoping to. Things don't always go according to plan, but that's the idea anyways right now. But yeah, there's always stuff planned. We'll see what happens. Mr. Austin T. Good to see you, sir. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday evening and holiday season. Saw Polson 2 run at ORHF, grinding studio, fresh off the inspiration. I can relate to that. The good old, I'm pretty sure Polson 2 is a, don't tell me, it's either a 70 or a 90 ton Mikado. I'm pretty sure, I want to say it's a 70 ton, but I could be wrong. I'd have, not looking at a photo of it, I want to say it's a 70 ton, but if I saw a photo of it, I could tell you if it's a 70 or 90 ton. Can't quite remember the difference between the 70 and 80 tons, or 80 and 90 tons. I believe the 80 and 90 tons were similar, but there are some spotting differences. Just, I haven't, been a while since I read that PDF. Yeah, Garrett is the guy that does Stud Scenery, so working with him on a fun little project here. I say little, it's not, but fun project. I think it would be cool to do a Lego version of some of the Lionel post-war steam engines, 675, 681, or 736. I know what those numbers mean. They're different Lionel post-war steam engines. I could not tell you what they look like offhand, but I do kind of have a soft spot for things like that. I think that would be cool too. All right, let me. Pretty sure. I'm not quite thinking properly about all this, so I'm hoping that I don't mess up really, but I need to go back through and recount something here for a second, so bear with me. It's what I get for trying to live stream and do something productive at the same time. It can never go well. Okay, yes, I was correct. Good. It solves that problem. Bear with me as I put a bunch of stuff into a plastic cup. Shortages in Bricklink orders are always unfortunate, especially when you don't really have the parts on hand to supplement. that shortage, but sometimes it's inevitable. In orders as big as these ones that I placed for this project, it's inevitable that there were going to be some shortages, and there definitely were across at least one, if not a few different sellers. But again, I'm ordering a lot of parts at a time. This time, I should say, it's not. This is the amount of parts that I ordered for this project that I'm working on this live stream. Is not something that I do on a regular basis. So I'm not ordering at all this many Legos on a regular basis in the slightest. Okay. What do you recommend for saving money when it comes to building trains? They cost a lot sometimes. You are asking the wrong guy. You might have not been in the stream, but one of the things I explained earlier in the stream was that money tends to not be a deciding factor for me when I build models. It's just kind of I'd rather just spend the money on something to make it right and do as good a job as I can on it one time, and then not have to think about it anymore. Like, I'm not building a model. To me, it starts to take away from the reason why I'm doing it in the first place, which for me, like, I built 763 to build as good of a model as I could of a nickel plate S2 Burke. If I started factoring in how much money it was going to cost me, that would, in my case, cause me to start going down a road of, I could do this a little bit differently, or omit this detail, or forget about this and save a little bit of money. And I don't want to do that, because then by that same measure, the cost goes down, but in my mind, the quality of the model also goes down. So I'd rather just spend the money, honestly. And again, I might be a very small minority in that, but I'd rather just do a good job on it. Not to say that you can't spend less money and do good job on things, but for me, it's just part of the hobby. It's just the way that I ration that out. So in a very roundabout way of saying, I can't recommend you anything for saving money. I would say that you're asking the wrong guy. Favorite railway and railroad? I love the nickel plate. I did not imagine falling in love with the nickel plate as much as I did when I started researching, designing, and building 763. But I really do. I mean, if you couldn't tell. I also like the Oregon, Pacific, and Eastern for Emperor of the North reasons. Opinion on using random color elements inside locomotives. If that works for you, perfect. I don't do it enough. I could probably save money if I tried, but for me, that comes down to like looking over Bricklink and being like, oh, what's the cheapest color that this part has been made in that is available in quantity. And it's just like, I don't want to spend the time to do that. Just order the parts and build a locomotive and use it. But if it works for you, do it. Absolutely, by all means. Nickel plate, favorite U.S. fallen flag. Yeah, it's hard to not appreciate the nickel plate once you kind of understand it. All right, going to transition slightly here. I just realized I marked this box wrong. Again, this is what I get for not thinking about what I'm doing, or trying to live stream while trying to be productive at the same time, which doesn't work. At least in my case. Oh man. There is a lot of Lego in my apartment. That is always true. If only all of these extra parts could be turned into the parts that I actually need. Fortunately, it doesn't work that way. It'd be cool if it did. Okay. Oh man. Anybody working on anything tonight? Talked a lot about what I'm doing. What are you guys doing? I suppose we talked a lot about what I'm doing because it's my live stream. Oh boy. Aside from designing, how long does it take to build a model? It depends. There's a lot of testing and rebuilding that goes into anything. Steam locomotives, freight cars, whatever. It's just all part of it. Sometimes things go very well and require very little redesign and rebuilding. Other times, not so much. 763 took me a whole year. I would say even a little bit more than a year from start to finish, including the design, test, rebuild phase. Granted, a lot of things on 763 did work very well right off the bat, which is awesome. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it does. But yeah, 763 took about a year. The Mohawk took about a year. Not everything takes that long, but you know, big projects like that I want to really do a good job on take a little bit more time. Cool, that's 2 shortages corrected. Favorite locomotive you have made? Oh, goodness. Favorite one I've made? My real-life favorite engine is 19, which I've discussed at great length at the end of the video that I made about 19. Love 19. OP&E 19, the Emperor of the North locomotive. Love that engine for a lot of reasons, and if you would like to know them, go watch the video, because that would be an hour-long tangent for me, at least to get into again. It took me 3 tries to record that that final like 20 minutes or so of me talking at the end of that video. I believe that is the longest review video I have ever made on a model, and that 20-minute clip at the end is the sole reason why. But I'm glad to have done that. But my favorite engine that I've built, thinking about the model locomotives that I have made, kind of taking the which real-life counterpart is my favorite out of the equation. I really have to say, not to really make this sound like I feel like it's a cop-out answer, I love 763. I really do. 763 is very near and dear to my heart, you know, because I see it, you know, a lot of weekends out of the year, working at Age of Steam as a tour guide, as a site interpreter, as my official title says. But my model of 763, you know, it really, it's one of those ones that hits every single box for me, or at least hits like 95% of the boxes or so, because it's a nickel plate Burke. People know what those look like. It's a famous look. It's outright famous locomotive, and I think that my model, it's sitting over there on top of my second bookshelf. My model, I think, does a really good job in capturing the spirit, the essence, the presence, the take it in all at once factor feeling of a nickel plate Burke. It looks like the real thing. it works like the real thing. That's another big reason, is because a nickel plate Burke is inherently supposed to just go. It's supposed to just, a real one, 70 miles an hour between, in 763's case, between Bellevue and Buffalo, New York, all the time. My 763 is a very reliable runner, even for being a big locomotive. And it took me a while to figure out how to build a big locomotive, being like something like an 8-coupled engine with like a pilot and with a lead and trailing truck, or at least a lead and trailing axle. But for being a big road locomotive, not to mention super power locomotive, often considered the paramount, the zenith of steam locomotive development in the United States, arguably so. The model of one has to operate in miniature the way that the real one did, and mine does. At least by my standards that I set for myself, I achieved that goal, which I am so incredibly happy about, because there's nothing that breaks my heart more, or has broken my heart more, in my case, because this has happened before, as building a locomotive that I can't use, my Pennsylvania J1. There you go. I talk a lot. A 440. Sure. Attempting to find a non-expensive pair and L motors for an E8. Good luck. If you find them, let me know where they're at. Designing Lego Sir Hayden and a powered coach for narrow gauge. It sounds excellent. That is the... I can picture the locomotive you're talking about. That sounds wonderful. Don't have the guts to start designing anything. Ordering parts for the Ontario Northland SD40-2s using the BNY instruction kit, Jeep 38-2 in the same style. That'd be cool. Best of luck with that. Attempting to make a powered Garrett loco from the Festiniog. That'd be pretty cool. Garretts are pretty interesting. BCNG 13 didn't make the favorite cut. I love 13. My modeling desires kind of have drifted away from the short line kind of vibe, which 13 and 19 kind of fit. I've been very, 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 very into mainline, road motive power recently. If 763 was not obvious enough, I've got more on the way. But I love 13. I do still love 13. It's got a very soft spot in my heart for a very good reason. Can't outdo a nickel plate Burke. In a lot of ways, you can't. I think obviously it's a very subjective thing, but they are very good at what they do. The real ones are. Designing. I don't even want to do math right now, but I assume that that's a good joke. So wonderful. You're welcome for the gearing help. Gearing on steam locomotives can be challenging. Steam locomotives can just be challenging, and they're by themselves. So glad I was helpful. You're welcome. Where in the world are my 2x2 corner plates? They've got to be around here somewhere. I only need 3 of them. And I just dropped one in a pile. Clearly, I know what I'm doing. I'm very, very good at this, if you couldn't already tell. Zero Winter, hello. Welcome to the stream. You join us on the later side, but glad to have you regardless. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday evening, wherever you happen to be. Whatever time it is for you. There's a couple. Pull those out here. Need one more. If I could find that one that I dropped, that'd be perfect. I'm not always so lucky, however. Build that 462-701. Don't have the strength and will to start it. I understand. The hardest part is just starting. It really is. That's why I like to upcycle, I guess would be a good way of saying it. I like to upcycle parts and elements of previous models into new ones. So I always like to give myself a jumping off point for a new project. like starting with the powertrain for the Mohawk and using that to make 763, for example. Not having to reinvent the wheel every single time is very helpful, but I am sympathetic to people who don't have such a library of things to use as their own springboard. But certainly hope that you find the gumption to do so soon. Gumption, what a word. I learned that word in college. It just became New Year's Eve. I live in the UK. I think you're 24 hours ahead of yourself. Last I recall, December has 31 days. What bag is this? What bag did I just pick up? It's this one. Okay. Crisis averted. Do you use parts from a collection in models or just order and everything to save time? Typically, I order everything, which is part of the reason why I could probably save money if I really tried to in doing this. But I like ordering just kind of the entire model at one time, because then I typically end up with extra parts that I can use for other things and tinkering and building and things like that. How long do I think I'll be building trains? That's a question that I'd hate to answer because I want to do this just for as long as I reasonably can. I will do it as long as it brings me joy. If I don't like it, I won't do it. But and that comes and goes in waves. You know, it's never a that graph doesn't always look like this. Sometimes it looks like this. Sometimes it's a straight line. Sometimes it's down. Sometimes it's up. Sometimes it's almost straight up. But as long as it brings me joy, I'll continue to do it. And that's a very cyclical thing. Maybe not cyclical, but very come and go thing. But yeah, I'm not done yet. I've got a lot that I want to do. Who knows what of that I'll actually get around to doing, but you never know. All right, what next? A couple more things to sort out here, then we'll probably be wrapping up. I think it's been quite a while on this live stream already. It's only 7 o'clock my time. Not too bad. You know, it might be a night for staying up just a little bit. You know, I'm in my later 20s. I'm okay enough to do that every now and then. Not frequently, but you know. New Year's isn't December 31st. I think it is December 31st. It's not December 30th, which is what it would probably be if you're in the UK. It's okay, though. Brain farts calendars are difficult. Like I've already said several times in the stream, we are in a holiday purgatory right now, so you are totally forgiven. Oh, boy. Okay, what do I need here? 1x2 plates and 1x4 plates. Where's that tub that I just had in my hand? There's probably some of those in there. One. You know what the worst thing is? It's that like false hope you get when you're looking through Lego. It's like, again, 1x2 plates. I need 6 of those right now. And so I'm looking through this bin and I come across what looks like a 1x2 plate. But surprise, it's a door rail. Well, I'm looking for a 1x2 plate. And now that I need it, I can't find it. Looking for a 1x2 plate. And I come across this, and surprise, it's a bar clip thing, whatever. Or I'm looking for a 1x2 plate. And I come across this, but surprise, it's one of these guys. There's a lot of fake 1x2 plates in here. Is what I mean. All right, so that's all the 1x2 plates. And I need 2 1x4s, and then this is good to go. There's one of them. Off to a good start. There's another one. I'm gonna use a different one now. There we go. Do you have any advice on doing commission work? Oh wait, hang on. Honestly, don't even remember the day of the week half the time. Yeah, that does happen sometimes. Oh, goodness. If I had a nickel. Do you have any advice on doing commission work? Honestly, just don't oversell, don't undersell. Charge a fair price for both you and the customer. That's a very subjective thing, but can be done. I've done commission work before. I haven't done a lot of it, but I've done some of it. Commission work is kind of interesting. What bag is this? I'm terrible at what I'm doing right now. There we go. I would say be fair to yourself, be fair to the customer. And I would say if you have a formal written agreement with somebody, I would say it's best to follow through with them, or make sure that they understand and keep them up to date at what's going on. Not going to grab out of there. That's a bad idea. One of these days I'm going to sort and organize everything, but that is not today. Which leads me into Henry's question, or MacBrick's question. No, my piece collection is not organized. Goodness, no, it's not. Some ways I wish it was, but that's a lot of effort. It can be, anyways. I had big aspirations when I moved into this apartment to sort my and organize my part collection, and guess where that has ended up. Okay, let's see. Got those too. I think the only thing that I'm missing is 3 1x3 dark tan tiles. That is not a bad place to be. Okay. This goes back in the box. And of course I missed the throw. Not going to quit my day job for basketball. There we go. I'm trying to find a 1x1 stud with hole. Only find the one without hole. I hate that. Hope you find one. Keep asking for advice. Any advice on driving trains to or from a show? Pack them well. Bubble wrap is your friend. Get boxes that are big enough that you can put a few different things in, but small enough that you don't that they don't move around too much. And yeah, pack them well. Probably it's a good thing to overkill on the bubble wrap. I have my methods, which typically works. I know pretty much what I can put in each tote. I've got 5 totes, I would say, that I bring around regularly to different places. And one of the things that I like to do anyways, you don't have to do this at all, but one of the things that I like to do is this. I tape an index card with what fits in each tote on the top. So I can fit 4 40-foot cars, 2 tank cars, 2 36-foot cars, 1 55-ton hopper, and 1 53-foot flat car. That is something that I recommend. So I know exactly what goes back into each box. And that is a wonderful thing. Saves yourself the mental gymnastics of doing it in a convention setting. How often do I get sent some fake parts or the parts the wrong color? Not very often. It's typically the most problems that I have with Bricklink are either getting usually it's a shortage of a part. Sometimes I get lucky and get a few extras. Not always though, but typically good Bricklink sellers with good ratings will be pretty darn accurate and pretty consistently good about things. There's a handful of Bricklink stores and sellers that I remember by name now and have ordered like a dozen times from for a number of different things. Good to see you, Mr. Fletch. Enjoy the rest of your night. All right. I don't have too much else that I really want to get taken care of for Lego tonight. I got the main thing out of the way, and now I need to mark completed for these Bricklink orders and post good feedback. Because it's important to post feedback in Bricklink. And on big orders like this, there was only one thing that I ordered that was egregiously miscounted by about 190 one-by-one black tiles, which all it took was just a simple message to the sellers like, hey, need a few more of these. This is about how many I got. This is about how many I ordered. And generally sellers will be like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And then just typically be willing to either refund you or correct the issue by sending you the remaining parts, which in this case is exactly what this particular seller did, which is a great thing. It's very, very good of them to do that and work with you on things like that. But it was the only case, just anything that was, again, egregiously out of spec, I guess I would say. And with the amount of parts that I ordered, 3 is really not, like, missing 3 of something is really not that big a deal. So I tend not to worry about the small stuff like that. Again, but if I was ordering like parts for a significantly smaller number amount of parts, like so like percentage wise, it gets that 3 parts is a bigger percentage of what I'm ordering. I would contact the seller about it, but in a case like this, I'm just not going to worry about it. Got 9 people watching. I don't know how. Hope you're enjoying your night. All 9 of you. Good to see you, Mac Bricks. Thanks for joining. Have a good rest of your night. Nathan Zarella, good to see you too. Eight now. Yeah, it's true. That's all right. All right. Checks that off the list. I have a lot of flex tube that I need to cut, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I'll do that maybe tomorrow or some other day. I do need to find 3 dark tan 1x3 tiles. Thankfully, that's all I need to find, though. Any last minute questions? Be happy to field those before I inevitably start to wrap up. Ah, man. Be good when this project's done, I'll tell you. Where do I find my flex tube? If not on Bricklink, it's on Bricklink. I pretty much only ever order, most of what I order is just black, and there's a couple of sellers that have it in lengths of 32, which is, I think, typically tends to be the best balance of length and cheap. I don't know about dark blue flex tube. It's what I assume you mean by navy blue. I cannot remember a time in which I ordered dark blue flex tube. Yeah, typically on Bricklink. from a couple of different sellers. All right. Next project you're working on, it is always a secret for now. I am very much a publish it when it's done kind of guy. I do a teaser on occasion. This project that I've been working on in this live stream is definitely secret until it's ready. This is going to be pretty interesting. I think it's going to be a little bit different from things that I've done before. In some ways, it's the same as things that I've done before, but in a lot of ways, it is different. It's been a good exercise for me. It's something that I've enjoyed. A lot of new things to think about. But I'm excited for this. Hopefully, my small, comfortable following will appreciate it too. I hate thinking that I have a following, but I have people that tune into my live stream, so apparently there's something to it. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's been a lot of effort so far, and I hope that I hope that it's received well when it's finally out there, because it's the kind of thing where some people might have strong opinions about it one way or another. But that's just kind of part of doing a project like this. So you never really know until you get it out there. And right now we're just not ready yet. Again, I would like it to be end of January. That's the goal. But we'll see. But yeah, typically things remain secret until I'm done. I don't like to say I'm going to do something and then just completely like fall off the grid and not follow through on it with my own projects. I'd rather it's the way that I typically tend to enjoy something too. I like a controlled build up to something, once things are set in stone and you can really kind of move forward with something and towards the publishing side of it. I like that in a controlled setting. I'm not just saying like, hey, I've got stuff going. I mean, I've got stuff going on all the time. It's just, I'm never going to say anything about it, publicly, because it's always just then becomes a, hey, what, have you worked on this in a while? And then maybe not, maybe I have, but maybe not. That's just me. It's my skills and your extremely well designed and built model works gives you a following. I appreciate that. I really do. It's hard to believe that I've been doing Lego in a serious way for 17 plus years, 16, 7, probably more than 17 years comfortably at this point. Yeah, that's crazy. That's well over the half of my life. It's crazy. So whatever following I guess I do have, thank you. Never know when motivation is gonna decides to go as it pleases. Yeah, that motivation is a fickle thing. It's difficult to keep going. But right now I've got a spark, which is the reason why I clicked go live. The reason why I've been sorting a lot of parts out tonight, and in effort to work on this unnamed thing that I've got going on. Pretty exciting though. Sounds like I'm building a diesel. There are diesels that I want to build, but that's not what I'm working on right now. Someday though, maybe. The Steam list is pretty important until then. But I'd like to build a diesel someday. It's just when I'm get tired enough to just really not think about Steam for a while, which when I get tired enough to not think about it, I usually think about something else, and then I always come back to Steam rather than come back to a diesel. You need a 765. That's another one I'll eventually build. I built 763 already. 765 in some ways would not be too difficult, but it is building an entire, I've already built one, so the second one can only be at least slightly easier. But it is building a whole new locomotive, and I have to, again, I don't do myself any favors, but I have to pay for a brand new locomotive too. And I've got a lot. I wish I could, to put this in context, I wish I could just talk all about what I've got going on, what's currently taking up space on my building table that's behind my camera. But again, not gonna oversell that before it's ready. But there's a lot that I've got going on, It's just kind of a slow process because I'm working on kind of reorganizing the way that I do some things just out of necessity. But at some point they'll be done. At some point I'll get over this kind of hurdle that I've got and keep going, and it'll be great. I would like an SD9, obviously nickel plate 358. I'd love to have one of those. Most people want large engines. I'm happy with an 060. There's nothing wrong with those. I like a good mix. I haven't built enough smaller engines. I've not built enough switchers. I would say I need another switcher. I've got my little number 12, which I love. 12 is wonderful, and I can actually use it as a switcher, which is kind of nice. But I like big engines. More recently, I like a lot of big engines, so it's been what I built. 470 is the last thing that I've actually published that's actually a locomotive, and that was 11 months ago. Again, got more in progress, but they're not ready yet. Eventually, I will build smaller engines again, but I just need to, I've got a lot of now that I've kind of figured out the formula for building large engines, like a Burke and, like a 284, a 482, 484, stuff like that. Now that I figured out how to do that consistently fairly well, it opens up the doors to a lot more that I want to build. And I've got, that list is pretty long, but, the wheel always spins back around, always, it won't always be the only thing that I want to build, and I'll always want to build something, but it won't be the only thing that I want to build. It's the way that works. Like I said, there's a lot in this hobby that I want to do. I'm not done yet. Sometimes with my dormancy, it might seem like, hey, what's he doing these days? And but regardless, here I am, not done yet. Oh man, I give it another 5 minutes. We've been streaming for 2 hours already, and want to relax this evening. So another 5 minutes. Hope you guys have been enjoying this stream. Again, unplanned as always, but hopefully no less fun. Certainly fun for me. I was thinking as I was visiting family the last week, I was like, I should do another live stream before the year ends, and here I am. I really need to do a year in review, but there really hasn't. I'll do a quick year in review. I've done a lot this year. Again, published 470 at the end of January. Finally glad to get that one over the goal line, because 470 had sat on either my bookshelf unfinished or my build table unfinished for a good while. I started assembling that model before I had designed any of 763. To put that in perspective, I think so. I was working on 470 in like 2021. So it gives you an idea about how long it's been sitting. But I was really glad to get that over the goal line. Sorry for yawning. It's sitting right there from me right now. Again, I would show you, but there's other stuff behind it. I need to put a couple parts of it back together. It's been largely sitting in a box and getting toted around to different places just because it fits really nicely in with a bunch of other rolling stock. So I need to reattach some things. Love it to death. There's a lot that I need to do with it. I can show this off because I'll eventually have to do it. But leading into this is I need to build the train for it, which is the part of the reason why I haven't actually used it, is because 470 only really makes sense with a passenger train that fits behind it, which in this case would be full of Maine Central, Boston, and Maine Canadian National and Canadian Pacific cars, or some combination thereof. And I don't have a whole lot of passenger stuff, let alone any of that. But I will be doing that train for 470. I've actually got a list of the cars that I want to build for that consist now, and I've actually got one of them. Thanks to my good friend JT, gave me this essentially as a Christmas gift this year. So I'm going to kind of preview this on the live stream. I'll have to post a picture of it to my Flickr eventually. But my good friend JT, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guy. He is on Flickr as JT Batchelder. It's his Flickr name. You can go search it. He models a lot of New England railroads, which Boston, Maine, Canadian National, Maine Central, Canadian Pacific, all of those are New England roads. So, and he does a lot of passenger stuff. He built me for use behind 470, Boston and Maine diner named Maine. He did an amazing job on this. It's got an interior. It's missing the kitchen components, which is on this end, would be on this end of the car on the inside. But JT built me this car, which is a wonderful, amazing gift that he gave me towards the beginning of this month. Awful thoughtful gift. He's been kind of a driving force behind me getting some stuff done for 470, getting some cars done for 470, and this is kind of one piece of that puzzle. There's a good handful of passenger cars that I'll need to make to accompany this behind 470. But this is a very good starting point that JT gifted to me so very kindly as a starting point for that. So this is the Boston and Maine dining car Maine. There are apparently 4 of these dining cars in real life. Boston and Maine had 4 of them. This one in particular was named Maine and numbered 84. And so this is what he decided to build and gift to me, which is incredibly nice of him. Wonderful dark red car. All of the other cars in the consist will be built to match the same styling, built to basically the same height so that they all look good next to each other. So the consist for 470 is started, thanks to Mr. JT. I love this car. I'll have to post some photos of this on Flickr when I get around to taking some photos of this eventually. I've got a couple of other things that I'll have to finish, hopefully before the Amherst show in late this coming January. I got a couple of things that I do want to finish before then, so hopefully I'll get all of those photos, including photos of this one, uploaded to my Flickr at some point. Before too terribly long, but the work is in progress. So this is part of the 2024 year in review. Anyways, carefully put this back down where it was sitting over here. Published some more rolling stock this year. My 53.5 foot AR flat car, the Nickel Plate 3030. Super pleased with that. Very happy with that. Probably one of the cars that I'm happy with the most recently. Love that car. I'd love to build more of them. I will build more of them someday. 10,000 gallon X3 tank car, published that too. That's one of the things that I've actually gone back very recently and have started to correct a few of the details that I regrettably missed on my first pass through of that model. I came across a lot of resources for very good, reliable, legitimate resources for rolling stock, particularly tank cars this year, which I've got several drawings and PDF reference files printed out for, a rainy day, which maybe tomorrow. But the X3 was one of them, so I redid a little bit of my model that I designed in 2022. I had actually built it last year, and then I went back through and updated a few parts of it this year for this particular car. So I actually had to delete the footboards for this particular car number, and I'm actually waiting on a corrected decal with information on it. So I'll have to update that and re-upload a photo of that to Flickr, because I believe that the photo is on there now of the older incorrect version. So just because I have a photo of that actual car. So that's the reason for that. I'm going back and correcting details that I should have had before I published it, but somehow missed. Well, I know how I missed it is because I had decals made for 2 different road numbers of the car, and I used the one road number. Should have thought about this, so this is on me. Use the road number that didn't match the photo that I had, so now I'm having to correct some of those details. But when I build a second 10,000 gallon X3, I'll just use those other decals, and then those details will be, as far as I know, correct. The class, what was it? The class X? No, this Type 21 8,000 gallon tank car, the Sinclair car, which there's currently not a photo of on my Flickr right now, because I realized that I had misplaced the details referencing the B end of the car incorrectly, so I had to swap some things around. I've got to take another photo of that and upload it to Flickr with the corrected details on that. That's another thing that I missed, regrettably. I'm getting better about that as I design more and more rolling stock. I've been in a very big rolling stock mood this year, coming off of the publishing of number 12, number 19, and 763 and 470. I kind of hit a rolling stock stride again. And there's like a good number of cars that I've got designed or in designing or have very good legitimate references for to design that I haven't been able to bring over the goal line yet. I had a hurdle that I had a friend help out with recently, which will be explained when I finish the design and build and publish that model eventually. But I've been doing a lot of rolling stock, just keeping the library well stocked, keeping the models available to me and available to close trusted friends to share privately. Keeping that well stocked and ready to go, because I love variety. I don't want to, and I love accuracy. If you couldn't already tell, I want to have a lot of very highly detailed, very highly accurate cars. And I'm kind of phasing out some of the older stuff that I had. I had an old brick model railroader designed AR 50-ton flat car that I gifted, um, gave away to a close trusted friend because I didn't want it anymore. I've got my own design for the car now, and I'd just build a brand new one to following my own newer design if I were to build another one. So I gave that away, for example. Um, so just an example of some of the things that I've done this year. I've got another piece of rolling stock in progress that I haven't published yet. It just needs the final decals and it's ready to go. I have to get the decals redone because the first batch that I got were misaligned when they were cut. So like some of the text was cut off of it. It happens. It's annoying, but it happens. So I need to get that redone. Then I'll publish that, which is going to be a very striking model when it's done. Hopefully I should be able to publish that at the end of January. And I've got a number of projects started behind the camera here, and the project that I was working on tonight that I'm very much hoping to bring over the goal line in 2025. A lot that I want to do right now, a lot that I'm motivated and willing to sit down and work on right now, which is great. Stumbling blocks and hurdles are always persistent, regrettably, but I'm pretty persistent myself when I want to be. So, I've been working my way over some of those and kind of reworking and redefining some things in the hobby for myself, and also kind of trying to roll with the punches. Shapeways going out of business was a big one. A lot of the things behind the camera right now would be a lot farther along if Shapeways hadn't gone out of business. But I hear that they most likely will be coming back into business. I think that might be a slow process, so I'm kind of looking at alternatives in the short term, just to kind of hold myself over until hopefully I have those same options available to me again, at least in terms of getting custom connecting rods and valve gear and things like that. So yeah, it's one of the stumbling blocks of the year. Not to mention just general lack of motivation. Sometimes that affects everybody, burnout, kind of things like that. Happens to everyone. And again, not to mention just the rest of life that gets in the way. I've been very busy this year outside of Lego, which I'm very thankful for. I've done a lot this year that both continuing to do things that I love and doing new things that I found out that I love this year, which has been wonderful. Very blessed for that, because of that, and have those experiences. Been nothing but great. 2024 has been a very good year for me. Very happy about that. I wish I could have done more Lego, but I wouldn't trade the experiences that I did have in 2024 for just doing more Lego. There's a lot more to my life than just doing that. And there's, at the end of the day, there's a lot of life that is a lot more important than Lego. And I love doing this, and I'll do it for as long as I reasonably can. For whatever reason, I might have to stop doing it one day, but I'm gonna do all of what I can for as long as I can. But it's not the most important thing in life, at least for me. So I wouldn't trade the experiences of 2024 for just being able to do more Lego. So that's kind of a quick year in review. I said I was going to give it 5 minutes. I think I gave it like 11. But anyways, it's the way that these things go. Again, unplanned live streams. Anyways, I'll wrap up it for the night. Thank you guys for joining. The 6 of you that are still here, thank you for sticking with me to the end. Or if you join late, appreciate you coming and hanging out. I appreciate the support. This is again, like YouTube is kind of the tail end of the creative process for me is for Lego, so it's tends to be kind of an afterthought, and so live streamings are always unplanned. So that's why that's why the content on my channel has been can be lacking on sometimes, but I appreciate the support that I get. I appreciate the views, I appreciate the comments, I appreciate everything that comes my way in regards to that. It's nice to have done this for long enough and be good enough at it to make people appreciate what I do. I'm thankful for that. I'm I'm glad to bring some people at least some amount of happiness, or at least I hope what I do brings you some amount of happiness. Kind of sounds somewhat presumptuous of me to say that, but I hope so anyways. You know, it's a fun hobby, and I hope that sharing it online makes you a little bit, brightens your day a little bit. So I'll leave it there. Thank you guys once again for watching. I'll wrap up. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your 2024. And hopefully I'll see you before too long in 2025. Take care.